Hola a todos. Welcome back to Uno Souls. I'm Philip Johnson, producer, and I have with me Brigitta Toruño, the founder. Hi, Brigitta.
Hi, Philip. Hi, everyone. How are you?
I'm good. We haven't done this in a while,
Yes.
but we have been doing it at least annually. We have one chat between the two of us where we talk about the past year, and we've been calling them silver linings. And we're doing a little bit of a evolution on that theme for this year, and we're
Mhm.
talking about rose, thorn, and bud.
Yes. And this is our third time doing this, the third year doing an end of year hello and check-in.
And they say after you hit the third time, it becomes your tradition. So now we're on
Yeah,
a tradition.
I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
And so for if you're not familiar, Rose, Thorn, and Bud is a game, like a thinking thing, where basically for each category you think of your favorite thing that could have happened is the rose, Thorn, your least favorite thing, and Bud, something you're looking forward to. So you can do this for like, a play you went to or a weekend you spent with some friends or a vacation or anything, any activity, or even you can just do it for yourself on how your day was if you want. But we are going to be doing it for the whole year and then our buds will be looking into the future.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you ready to start? I'm excited.
Yes, yes, I am. Okay, so let's just jump into it.
Okay.
Um, so you have to go first, I've decided.
Oh, okay.
So for Rose, let's start with Rose. So
Okay.
for Rose, what is your rose?
Well, so 2022, lots of roses, lots of roses. And
Mm.
a rose is actually one of my favorite flowers, along with the sunflower. Um, so what I remember from the beginning of the year is helping to put together a Brene Brown book club on her book, Atlas of the Heart. And if you all are familiar with it, it's a really thick book. It's almost like an encyclopedia of emotions. And it was so eye-opening. I just felt like I learned so much. We had a lot of people interested, about 30 people that we split up into different groups, and there were different
Wow.
facilitators. It was quite an undertaking. I'm very grateful to everybody who participated in that, who helped put the Zooms together and who came and just spoke from their heart, just
Mm.
really, really openly about what these different emotions meant to them. So that was definitely a rose. It um, got me off to a start for the new year of understanding more emotions and not just being stuck on I'm sad, I'm happy, but there's just so much
Mm.
richness in our vocabulary. So I really love that. And then I got to go to Mexico, to San Miguel de Allende, and I was there for a month, and I've never done anything like that. I'd always wanted to, the way my business is. I've always said, oh, as long as there's Wi-Fi, I can work anywhere in the world. And I just had never taken the leap.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I did, and there were some roses and thorns to even that opportunity. I mean, definitely it was a gift to
Right.
have given that a try. And I was there by myself and, getting to
Wow.
know that area and meeting new people and working. I was working still. So that was sort of like, whoa, I just want to be playing and discovering. I have to work, but it was all good.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but then at some point too, I also felt like I wanted to I wanted to come home. I mean, that was the reality. That was the little thorn of that rose where I was like, okay, and now what? Can I go? So it was an interesting sort of exercise of, getting to know myself more.
Yeah, yeah. What I found really insightful about what you just said was the range of emotions, or the language of emotions when you're talking about the Brene Brown, what came out of that. Um, I think that's very insightful.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And I think that covered. Oh, and I got a new grandbaby in August, so that's definitely a rose. My sixth
Half a
grandbaby.
dozen.
Yes, exactly, half a dozen, and she was born in August. So yeah, it's really really a wonderful gift.
Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
thanks. How about you for your rose?
I mean, for me, my rose for the whole year, I don't know if I have like, so the way you're supposed to play this game is that you pick a specific thing that you say,
Mhm.
which you've done really well. But my rose is a little bit more thematic. So some people might not be happy that I'm not choosing a specific thing, but my rose overall is just the opportunities I've been finding myself in um, to rediscover parts of myself that I before hadn't really paid a lot of attention to.
Mhm.
And for me, over this year, we did do a bunch of travel, and we ended up moving to a different part on the Northeast. And with that move, I've been able to have more free time and, you know, be able to think more about where I'm coming from. Sort of like when I say that, I mean, my ancestors,
Mhm.
basically. And yeah, looking into those parts of myself. I did a 23andMe about a year ago, actually, and the results came back that most things I knew, British and from Spain on my mom's side,
Mhm.
and but then also on my mom's side, a quarter indigenous came back, so
Mhm.
that's not something that I had a lot of discussion around when I was growing up in my own family. But it's something that, I mean, it feels very meaningful. And as I'm looking into what that means for me, and even just saying it out loud, I, you know, I'm just rediscovering those parts of myself. So, and I'm using rediscover because, there has been this feeling inside of me that, there is some things there that aren't being, sort of acknowledged. And I think it's that acknowledgement that's coming through for me um, that is my rose. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Philip, because you and I do share that heritage, the parts of our families that are from Ecuador. And I'm also 25% indigenous and really proud of it. And
Mm,
it's kind of like you. Like for me, it was not a surprise, and yet it was. I mean, I didn't know that it would be that number or that high.
hmm.
And it is something that I want to continue to explore as well, to do more exploring. So yeah, great.
Yeah, yeah. Somos mestizos, right? That's what they say.
Exactamente, sí. Y orgullosos
Y orgullosos. Yes.
and proud.
Um, so now we have to go into the tricky part.
Ye-
So we're going to talk about thorns.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think we'll start with you again because that seems like a nice balance.
Okay. Um, so I think it's important to talk about the thorns, and I think that that part is sometimes missing from at least the social media world, right? Where,
Mm,
for instance, on Facebook, we tend to post the positive that's happening, which is great. It's always good
yeah.
to see how everything's going in people's lives that are
Hmm.
going well, but then there's that other part that we don't always hear about. And the truth is that we all have them. I mean, even within one day, right? Our emotions can change from, being in a good place to feeling some anxiety and all within 24 hours. And that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Um, and it reminds me like of so you and I have talked about Young Pueblo before. He's one of my favorite poets, and he also shares our same heritage from Ecuador. He's
Yeah.
Ecuadorian. Um, and there's something if you don't mind me reading, there's something that he
Yes,
wrote
please.
yesterday which really resonated with me, especially with how we're going and looking at rose, thorn, bud today. An old friend who has seen you evolve is an undeniably valuable connection. They always want to hear your raw and unfiltered truth, whether it's about a down moment or a victory. They know how hard you have worked to fully say goodbye to the past and move into a more vibrant life. Oh, I just love his words. He's so authentic and frank, and you most people will find something that resonates, you know. So that is that absolute truth. And for me,
Yeah.
one of the thorns from this past year is that I got COVID.
Mm.
And you know, I'm fully vaccinated and boosted, and I spent 2.5 years being very safe, and I have asthma, so I really was worried about what that would mean for me to get COVID. Um,
Mm.
you know, traveled on the plane and had my mask on, and went to a meditation retreat with you actually,
Yeah.
which was an awesome experience to be there with you. But I feel like that's probably where I got it, because people
Yeah.
were not wearing masks there for the most part, and I was kind of okay with it. I anyway, so got came back, got it, um, and so then I tested positive 2 days later, and I, you know, full symptoms like full blow, you know, the fever, the cough, and because of the asthma, they gave me lots of different steroid type things to control the cough. But what it made me think about is I saw COVID as the monster, you know,
Mm.
and that was my fear, the fear of getting this monster. And and also a fear of failure. The whole idea of like, if I get COVID, it means I'll have failed, you know?
Mm.
And so these are some of my own issues, right, that I work with. And so then when I got it, I suddenly was like, oh, it's not a monster, you know. You know, I'm dealing it. I just took it every day. I was in the present moment of those symptoms, and try to do like make sure I go on walks, even though I was exhausted. Fatigue was a big thing.
Yeah.
Um, and in terms of the fear of failure, I sort of let that go too. But so the month prior to that, my son and his family all got it. And I
Mm.
didn't see them as failures just because they had it, you know? I mean,
Right.
anyway, so it again sort of like that thorn, but with some roses in it.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I think it's you are lucky that, it wasn't as big of a monster for you, certainly. But my thorn is tied to fear as well, because that's sort of like a theme that I pulled out from what you just said.
Mhm.
And I mean, specifically, if I have to pick a specific thing, which is the point, my biggest thorn for the year was the shooting at Club Q, at the drag performance, and the 5 deaths in the queer community, and it really, really affected me, and it is affecting me rather, and causing me to have fear. So for my fear, it's not, I'm not afraid to go into a gay bar or club or queer environment.
Mhm.
I'm just more, it just reminds me of there are parts of the world and parts of our country and that where it's not safe for everyone all the time. And that sort of just creates this sense of fear inside of me, fear for other people, fear for people like me in other parts of the world.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, definitely that has been a pretty big thorn for me this
Mhm.
year. And talking about range of emotions is how that fear comes up for me and how I process it. Um, and how I sort of honor people who have been killed this year, but then also be proud of the work that the community overall is doing. So it's a
Mhm.
little muddled, but it's an ongoing thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I do honor um what you just said and the fear that it brings up for you. And for me, what I share is the sadness of
Hmm.
of things like that happening.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly.
Mhm.
I mean, I think, and on the other hand, we have, because it always a balance, right? And there's a balance going on. And so on the other hand, we have, yesterday, um, or I guess I should say, recently, the passing of gay marriage, and
Mm.
in the Senate, and it'll be going towards the president's desk. So, and
Yeah,
that's great. That's
that's
amazing,
great. It is
and
amazing.
something to be
Mhm.
celebrated. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
The thorns and the roses.
yes, you
Yeah.
can't you
Yeah.
can't have them without each other. And you also get to have buds that are coming up as well. So as a rose ends its bloom, something else is coming to replace it. And
Yeah.
that's what we have coming up, sort of going into the new year, this thought of rebirth and refreshing and new buds. So what is that for you? What is your bud?
Yeah. So I like to think that I live my life with as much flow as possible, so that in the present moment. So that's not always planning for the future, but it's not also that maybe works, like to have that full experience, maybe if you're a monk or something like that. And so when you live in this real world, you do have to do planning for the future,
Uh,
right?
yes, I
Um,
see.
but and I do have some travel planned. Um,
Yeah.
I'm I'm really excited about some travel that I'm going to be doing next year. I'm also going to be turning 60 next year, and yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks. I mean, it really, I just really have no problems saying that, I think
Yeah.
I had more problems. I remember when I turned 30, I was like, oh my gosh, no. But this last decade has been a good one. It's been a new one. It's been, new experiences and a life.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm grateful for where I am in my life and looking forward to, continuing to age what I'm going to call gracefully, and
Yeah.
as best as that can look, right? But yeah, so I am looking that's a bud. And we have like a surprise project that we're working on for the future, you and I, 2023, which everybody will get to know about as time goes by in 2023, and I'm
Very exciting.
really excited about that. How
That's a
about you?
beautiful bud. That's a beautiful bud. Turning 60. Um, I think that's wonderful. And it's going to be a bud that goes on for, the decade of the 60s.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
love that.
yeah. Thanks.
Um, for me, my bud is travel. The
Hmm.
biggest one is travel. I love to travel. I like to be able to go and experience the food of a place and the culture of a place as a humble guest visiting.
Mm.
Um, Specifically, though, for next year, for 2023, we are going to Ecuador. We
Yeah.
are traveling there, visiting there,
Yeah.
spending time there. And I have not gone there before.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to Britain and I've been to Spain,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never set foot in South America or in Ecuador, and I am really looking forward to it.
Oh,
Um,
so glad you're doing
I'm
that.
Thank you. I am too. I am too, and I'm glad that I'm very privileged to be in a situation where I can do that and I can work remotely, just like you did. You were talking about.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm really trying to keep myself open to the experiences that I'll have when I'm there, and not try and create it should be this way, and sort of just more organic and flowing with it. But
Hmm.
That is my
Good.
biggest bud for next year. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, it was really wonderful talking with you, Brigitta.
It was wonderful talking with you, Philip. And yeah, we can't wait to hear from everybody. Please let us know what your rose, thorn, and buds have been for this past year. And we just feel so lucky that we're ending our second season of Uno Souls. We're very grateful and blessed to have finished this year with Uno Souls, and we're starting a brand new third season in January.
Woohoo!
So yes, I'm really looking forward to that, and turning over a new leaf of fresh conversations from amazing people. And so much to look forward to. We have a little surprise that we're working on, that we're collaborating on, that will be that you'll start to hear about towards the mid-year and towards the end of the year. So that's something that we're really looking forward to,
Keep your eyes peeled.
along with being able to talk with some great people.
Until then, take care. Have a happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Yep, feliz año nuevo.
Feliz Año Nuevo. Bye, Brigitta. It was wonderful talking with you.
Wonderful talking with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Uno Souls Chat. You can find us at www.unosouls.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I would love to hear from you if you would like to chat with me. Have a beautiful week and see you at the next episode.